how do we understand each other? A tesol approach. So this presentation starts with realising that a good way to understand one another is to understand the language that you are using. So tesol, which stands for Teaching English to Students for the Language, plays a big part, as without the teaching of other languages, people would often not learn these languages. With English being a lingua franca and so many people speaking English, tesol itself is a really big part of teaching languages, as it is a language that can be used all over the world. If a message is to be portrayed, language is usually used as a way to portray this, whether it's written or spoken or gestured language. The more languages someone knows, the more meaning they can understand from different people, and it can be explained to them using these various languages. So, learning to teach. Before teaching commences, teachers themselves have to learn how to become teachers. And a large concern for teachers is how will they ensure that their students will understand them. Not only are the teachers teaching a language, but they're helping the students understand the culture and the people within these languages. And language learning can be used as a portal to understanding others around the world and in different cultures that they are not used to. So firstly, teachers understanding students. It is crucial that teachers understand the students that they are teaching. To do this, needs analysis often have to be executed before lessons commence. Needs analysis are plans that teachers design to look at various aspects of their students. They can mould their lessons around them. These aspects involve things such as motivation, what materials they enjoy, lots of different aspects that can be used to make a lesson appropriate for a student. Once a needs analysis has been done, the teachers will have an insight on what the students' needs and what their personalities are in the classroom. Long explains how, without understanding of what students do need from a lesson, the lessons may have no significance for a learner, so it would be pointless to teach them, as they would not be learning what they need to know to understand the world. Students also have to understand the other students in their classroom. Giving students the opportunity to interact in a classroom setting helps them both understand the language and understand each other. Peer feedback is a way of doing this, and tasks that involve using communication between students. Language is a social element, and by using language in real interaction, it enhances the natural learning of language. As Clark says, language is used for doing things, so practicing language in use will develop students' knowledge and help them access true meanings behind language and understand the reasons for using it. Students also have to understand teachers. Teachers can adapt their language to ensure students fully understand the lesson they are teaching. This will help with the cognition of the language that the teachers are using for the students. As the students' language develops, teachers can adapt and change their language to become more natural and expose students to the language that they will need to understand and process on a day-to-day basis. So courses like the CELTA inform teachers to use classroom appropriate language to enhance the students' learning. So this might be things like speaking slower or with clearer pronunciation, or even using less words in a sentence to make sure they don't get muddled, just to make sure the language being used is precise and understandable. So real language is really important in the classroom, and teaching vocabulary to students is always important, but if words aren't in context, they don't always hold a true meaning. It isn't till they are in context that they have a meaning behind them. Using authentic materials in a classroom, such as like newspapers, emails or magazines, it's useful as they have been made to fulfill a role in society previously. Therefore they have a true meaning and a real use for their language. By teaching students language through these materials, they are learning to understand real language in use, and they can go on to understand other elements of language similar to the ones that they have previously looked at in the classroom. So overall, from this aspect of linguistics, it decides that classroom settings involve a lot of elements that aid understanding for people learning new languages. When learning in a classroom, the teacher's job is not only to teach a language, but also how to use that language, how to process it, and how to understand it. By using the language, students will learn how to process and understand the language they are learning, and they'll become aware of the culture and the people that the language is used by. This will give them just an understanding of language, but a wider understanding of the world around them and the world that they are trying to become a part of.